If imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, then some people really don't know how to take a compliment. Welcome to WatchMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 fan creations attacked by the property owners.
Why are more young adults drawn to socialism? Can billionaires be trusted to fix capitalism?
I think that the wealth gap and the opportunity gap is the biggest issue of our time.
Can entrepreneurs level the playing field? Be sure to check out Fox and the Henhouse, a brand new documentary streaming in full on Context TV. Find the link below.
For this list, we're looking at famous instances where fans paid tribute to their favorite properties with their own interpretation of the material, only to have the owners of the intellectual property shut them down. Number 10. Streets of Rage remake gets KO'd days after release. If you're a fan of beat-em-up games, you're surely aware of this classic side-scroller for the Sega Genesis. While Streets of Rage spawned 2 sequels and has been subject to multiple re-releases in the years since, before the 4th game was announced in 2018, there hadn't been a new entry in the series since 1994. So when an indie developer called Bomberlink spent a reported 8 years building a massive remake of all 3 games from the ground up with entirely original coding, and then gave it away for free, you'd think the original company would see the effort as a labor of love. But no, instead, Sega sent a cease and desist letter after its release. However, the game continues to circulate in modding communities nonetheless. Number 9. ZeniMax Media targets DoomRL. For gamers, it's always been frustrating when fan-built games are shut down, especially when they present little to no competition to the economic interests of the actual franchise. But for the companies involved, maintaining strict intellectual property rights is their primary concern, regardless of the financial ramifications or lack thereof. DoomRL was a simple, free game that randomly generated Doom-themed maps that you could then play through in classic roguelike style. But due to the use of copyrighted material, Doom's parent company, ZeniMax, served the developers a cease and desist notice, forcing both a name change and removal of the offending materials. Confusingly, this legal action came shortly after ZeniMax seemingly endorsed the fan-developed gameplay mod, Brutal Doom. Number 8. Super Mario 64 HD must cease and desist. There isn't an industry-wide standard for companies to follow when it comes to dealing with fan games. Sega waited until the Streets of Rage remake was released, despite a very public development prior, while DoomRL was targeted years after its release. In the case of this particular fan remake, however, Nintendo acted lightning quick. Developer Eric Royston Ross had only recreated a single level of Super Mario 64 in HD, the Bob-omb Battlefield, when the Nintendo legal team took to their keyboards. The project was in fact essentially little more than a tech demo rather than a full game, but Nintendo nonetheless saw reason to defend and enforce their property rights. But then, after all, with Mario, it is all about the coins. Number 7. A Punisher fan film gets punished. While the quality of live-action Marvel projects has jumped by leaps and bounds in the past decade, many fans are still waiting for a proper Punisher adaptation. Filmmaker Mike Pecci took it upon himself to make such a project. His short, The Dead Can't Be Distracted, was, in his own words, an attempt, quote, to create a pilot for a potential web series, end quote. The short teaser immediately garnered overwhelmingly positive responses when he released it online in 2013, but it also drew attention from Marvel. The company issued a cease and desist, effectively ending the project. Considering a reinvented small-screen Punisher made his debut on Daredevil in 2016, which led to a series of his own, Marvel likely already had plans for the character.
One match.
Number 6. Nintendo shuts down AM2R. As the company with arguably the largest catalog of popular characters in video game history, you can imagine that Nintendo's lawyers stay very busy in this modern age of indie fan games. Metroid 2: Return of Samus was originally released exclusively for the Game Boy until fan developer Dr. M64 revamped it. Dubbed AM2R, or another Metroid 2 remake, the developer used the old Metroid game as a basis and mixed in elements from Metroid Zero Mission and Super Metroid. While players saw these as improvements, Nintendo saw it as violating multiple copyrights and filed DMCA notices to hosting sites and eventually the developer himself. In 2017, Nintendo revealed their own Metroid 2 remake at E3, Metroid Samus Returns, which was well received by the fan community, including the creator of AM2R. Number 5. Star Wars Theory vs. Warner Chappell. On December 21st, 2018, YouTuber Twos, who runs the popular channel Star Wars Theory, released Vader Episode 1, Shards of the Past, to immediate praise from the fan community. However, on January 14, 2019, Warner Chappell, publisher for the Walt Disney Music Company, filed a copyright claim for the video's use of a rendition of the Imperial March and began collecting the video's ad revenue. Fortunately, in response to strong fan reactions, Lucasfilm quickly intervened, and the claim on the video was ultimately released, and a disclaimer was added to the video explaining that the video is not monetized in accordance with Lucasfilm's guidelines. Number 4, Star Wars Galaxies and Turmoil gets disapproval from Electronic Arts. Sometimes, even the companies involved can't seem to agree on when to enforce intellectual property law. Of the many games developed by fans, Galaxies and Turmoil is among the most impressive. Developer Frontwire Studios took the remnants of the abandoned Star Wars Battlefront 3 and aimed to complete it. But after a distribution deal was announced, Lucasfilm requested the project be suspended. Ultimately, the game was scrapped, but surprisingly, it wasn't because of the notoriously protective Lucasfilm. Instead, it was Electronic Arts, who held proper rights, licenses, and contracts for Star Wars material, that objected. In the end, EA held on to their Star Wars exclusivity, while Galaxies and Turmoil got a notably un-Star Warsy cyberpunk makeover. Number 3, Pokemon Uranium gets slammed with takedown notices. Pokemon Uranium was so much more than most fan games. It was a full-blown, unlicensed entry in the Pokemon franchise that took two creators 9 years to complete. The pair created an entire lineup of 150 unique Pokemon, a new area of the Pokemon universe to explore, and an original plot. When it was released in August 2016, the free game was downloaded 1.5 million times until Nintendo had it shut down. It's certainly not the first time the company has taken such action. In 2010, they put the kibosh on the fan-made MMO, PokéNet, and they once issued a DMCA notice for over 560 fan games from indie game site GameJolt. Talk about ruling with an iron power glove. Number 2, Paramount and CBS block Star Trek Axanar. It's almost a rite of passage for any serious Trekkie to don the uniform and boldly go film a low-budget adventure of their own. 2014's Prelude to Axanar short film was well-received at the San Diego Comic-Con and was followed by a crowdfunding campaign for a feature-length film titled Star Trek Axanar. The campaign was a huge success, earning over $1 million, but Axanar Productions was hit by a copyright infringement suit just a few months later. Subsequently, the line was redrawn as to what is and what isn't acceptable for a fan film, causing Axanar to severely change course. Where filmmakers had planned to make a 90-minute feature, the result of Paramount's actions means it'll be limited to 2 15-minute ad-free installments.
You must inform Earth that the Council's decision will soon be final.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Power Rangers fan film gets taken down by Saban.
One last warning. Every move we make leaves a footprint.
Remember Dawson from Dawson's Creek? Well, as the Red Ranger in this super gritty fan-made Power Rangers short, he was far from the crying teen from Cape Side, Massachusetts. Titled Power Rangers, starring Katie Sackhoff, and produced by Adi Shankar, it was, quite frankly, awesome. With a bootleg universe including films like The Punisher: Dirty Laundry and Venom: Truth and Journalism, the Joseph Kahn-directed picture was well received by fans and even some original cast members. But the actual owners of the Power Rangers franchise, Saban Brands, were not thrilled with the hyper-violent interpretation and had it pulled from both Vimeo and YouTube in short order. Eventually, however, a deal was cut and the film was re-uploaded, albeit with numerous disclaimers.
I've killed them all. Another world is ours.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.